Recording. Hello, welcome back to this really unique series on the Enneagram and the Baha'i faith, all from my own personal perspective. And the title of this whole series, just to remind you, is called Developing Virtues, Unlocking Personality to Transcend the Self or Self. I don't mean the self in the Jungian sense of like your spiritual connection, but more so self as in the box that holds you back from being the fullest human, the fullest reflection of all of the beautiful qualities of God that are inside us, right? We're created in the image of God. We are created with the reflection of God's qualities and light within us, right? So let me just adjust this a little bit. So in the last session, I went over very briefly, but pretty thoroughly, a psychological overview of each of the types. What we didn't go through, and is something we can explore one-on-one coaching, I might do a future series, is more the spiritual side of all of those types. Because how we lead in the world has a lot to do with our relationship with God and with ourselves. And our personality is essentially ego. And I love the definition of ego, that is edging God out. We have a lot of, ways that we think are working for us, in our lives, like how we lead. But they're really serving to separate us, increase separation from God and other people. So there's so much deeper we could go, but I really want to charge ahead to give you this view of the virtues that you innately have as your type, and then also understanding the virtues everybody else has and being able to maximize other people's contributions and understand what's going on in different dynamics. And most importantly, understand your direction to focus on, to maximize your growth, to really bring along all of the virtues, to develop all of the virtues as you focus in a certain direction. Sort of the Karate Kid, wax on, wax off, you focus on a select set of qualities. You at least know, you understand the direction that you go in when you're healthy. And that's you painting the fence, right, in the Karate Kid. And as you work on those skills, without realizing it, you are developing many other ones at the same time that will, give your soul and your spirit flight. And that is the transcending personality to, what do I call this series? Unlocking personality to transcend the self. So in the last session, as I said, we went over all of the basic types. And remember, before then, I told you that each type has a dominant wing. And it's our little secret that I believe you should give attention to that other wing too, to help with your flight. But you have a dominant wing. So once again, I gave the example of a 2. If you're a 2, you're like, yeah, I really think I'm the helper type. I'm, love is like my favorite word. I'm all about love, and I really like to nurture and care for people, and I like to do nice things for people. Like that, that's how I operate in the world. Then you have either a dominant 1 wing or a dominant 3 wing. So the 2 and the 1 are a smidge more in conflict with each other. So you're all about love and giving and helping and caring, but you also have a strong sense of judgment and platonic perfection and how things should be, and you like to be methodical, and you like to do things the right way, and you really think other people should be doing things the right way as well. And again, I think of the archetype of a social worker, you're giving, but you also are very structured. You also believe in right and wrong, and that other people should adhere to that, and you have a strong sense of that. If you are a 2 with a 3 wing, Remember, 3 is the motivator, the inspiration, the paragon, the role model, the performer. So you're all about love, and you also want to inspire love in other people, right? And you want to be an example of love and caring and lighting up the world. For some reason, I have this sort of dated archetype in my mind, and I don't really know much about the woman, but I think of Christy Brinkley. No, is she the one who was married to Billy Joel? Yeah, Christy Brinkley, right? Yeah. She's either a 2-3 or a 3-2. Like, she is just bottled sunshine, right? So that, and again, 3-2 and 2-3, those dynamics, like, they really interplay with each other. And I gotta stop myself because I could go on into the dynamics. So you are a type, and you don't jump types throughout your life. That's another misconception, that if you do a Google search, we'll say, oh, well, I was a 2 in my 20s and I'm a 6 in my 40s. The goal is transcendence. The goal is to ultimately not be identifiable as a type, because you want to be a fully actualized person and you want all the virtues. But unless you have multiple personalities, you don't jump types. You just become more evolved as a human and less identifiable as a type. And you have a wing. And you know our little secret about the wings. Okay, so now we're going to go back through each of the types with a virtues perspective on it. And I'm going to share some beautiful quotes from the Baha'i writings for each virtue. So every type has virtues that they give to the world that are gifts to the world that we can all learn from. They're great examples of these virtues. And it'll also help you, understand like the great things that you have to offer based on your unique type. Okay? So the 1, remember we talked about the 1 is the judge, the reformer, the idealist. And some of the virtues, I'm using my virtue project, virtue cards here, that a 1 really manifests. Idealism, justice, orderliness, integrity, fairness, sense of balance, accountability. They're very reliable, righteous. They can be very tolerant and forbearing, even though they have that strong sense of judgment. Depending on their priorities, they also have a strong sense of tolerance. But I really think of justice, which is why I gave the scales as the symbol. And there's a quote from the Baha'i writings that says, "O son of spirit, the best beloved of all things in my sight is justice." So that is the gift of the 1. Thank you so much, ones, for holding down the fort of justice and integrity for us. Now, type 2, we already talked, they're all about love. They're all about caring and giving and helping. And obviously, all of those are tremendous virtues. Love, kindness, caring, helpfulness, gentleness, charity, thoughtfulness. They really do tune into the needs of other people, and they are a great example of that. And I have a quote from Abdu'l-Baha. "The foundation of Baha'u'llah is love. You must have infinite love for each other, each preferring the other before himself." Again, 2s are a wonderful example of that. 3s, the motivator, the performer, the role model, the paragon. 3s are such hard workers, and they really do exert themselves a great deal. They're willing to, put themselves out there. And the 2 virtues that I found were like the most spot on for 3s were excellence. They really want to do everything very well. And self-discipline. They go to the gym. They, do what they need to do to finish that project. Like, They are very disciplined. Other virtues that they can be really strong in, again, because they project, and the healthier they are, the more it's genuine and not just projection. Consideration, dignity, mindfulness, reliability, tact, right? They're very tuned in to their environment. So it's less like the two being tuned into people's emotional needs and more like kind of social, like what is appropriate for the situation, which is where tact comes in. So a quote I have for the 3, again, the rah, rah, make ye a mighty effort that in every kind of excellence the people of God shall surpass all other human beings. And again, 3s aren't afraid of that idea, you know, like, yes, I want to be the best I can be. That both outwardly and inwardly, they shall prove superior to the rest. That for purity, immaculacy, refinement, and preservation of health, they shall be leaders in the vanguard of those who know. Okay, leaders in the vanguard. That's the 3. So next we have the 4, the artist. Drama, melancholy, beauty, aesthetics, creativity. These are some of the qualities of the 4. And from the virtue cards, truthfulness. They're very, very truthful, as the 1 is as well. But yeah, truth and beauty, man. Like, that's what the 4s are about. They can be very independent, and they give us an example of that. Creativity, honesty, beauty, sincerity, and openness. Can be very receptive, very open-minded. So a quote I have for the 4, truthfulness, you know how it goes, is the foundation of all human virtues. Without truthfulness, progress and success in all the worlds of God are impossible for any soul. So truthfulness, creativity, a susceptibility to beauty. These are the virtues and gifts that the 4 gives us. So next is the 5, the theorist, the thinker, the researcher, right? They go deep into the rabbit hole, and I'm learning a lot more about Carl Jung right now. And, you know, in terms of like God and spirituality, and I'm sure this applies to many other topics as well, he believed in certainty, not in blind faith, but rather that you should know something from your own experience. You should experience your connection with God, and then you know it's real. Right? And to me, that's very 5. They're very much about certitude. That's why they go into the rabbit hole, because they want to be certain. And again, my gosh, we need that so much. And the sciences and there's all kinds of science, you know, stats and, you know, medicine and everything. So certitude, wisdom, simplicity. They pare things down to their essentials. Discernment, perceptiveness. And a quote that I have for the 5. Every individual member of humankind is exhorted and commanded to investigate reality for himself. Investigation of truth and reality. That is the virtue gift of the 5. So 6, remember, is the loyalist, the team player. They work well as a member of a group. They don't really like to stand out. I'm just pretty much a middle of the road person. But, you know, like, it's so important because we're all little tiny drops in the ocean of humanity, right? And the more we can work together, the better. So 6s are a great example of that. And some of the virtues that I picked for that type: fidelity, humility, trustworthiness. Like, once they're on your team, they're on your team, you know? Friendliness, modesty. I'm pretty much just a middle of the road type of person. Service, like, and the 2 is about service too, but the 2, it's the 6 is actually a lot more self-sacrificing, like self-effacing. They're really happy just to blend in and play their little role in a much bigger machinery. Humanity, cooperation, loyalty. And the quote from the Baha'i writings I have for the 6: "Be ye as the fingers of one hand, the members of one body." And 6s really embody that for us. They embody that. Get it? So 7, remember, 7 is the enthusiast, right? 7s, you know, bring us joy and hilarity, and they want things to be fun, and they want people to be happy and not spend too much time, you know, wallowing in their emotional whatever. Like, let's have a good time. Let's go to the fair, you know? And again, wonderful, wonderful fun. And some of the qualities that the 7 really gifts to humanity: awe, zeal, cheerfulness, enthusiasm, joyfulness, optimism. Optimism. And a quote for the 7: "Joy gives us wings. In times of joy, our strength is more vital, our intellect keener, and our understanding less clouded." And see, this is something that the 7 innately knows, right? And this is the 7's gift to the circle of humanity. So next we go to 8. And 8 is the leader, right? The leader, the fighter, the combatant. They're all about strength and I thought triumph of the will, but no, delete. But they are actually a little bit. And the funny thing is, like, 8s are a real challenge for a lot of people if you don't get why they are the way they are. But what's really interesting is that when I was going through the virtue cards, I found so many that the 8 manifests. And again, like, 8s can be a bully, or they can be interpreted as a bully. So that's what I meant by people have a hard time with them. But the 8s, so many virtues I found: resilience, confidence, steadfastness, seeing something through, fortitude, initiative, decisiveness, done, moving forward, commitment, courage, assertiveness, endurance, perseverance, determination. So many, you know, that we need to, like, actually change the world, actually finish projects, actually defend the oppressed, you know? And the quote from the Baha'i writings is from Baha'u'llah. And here's where we have, like, when you have spirituality at the core of your being, the source of courage and power is the promotion of the Word of God and steadfastness in His love. So when all of those qualities of the 8, rather than serving the ego, when they're serving God and humanity, they're such beautiful qualities. So that is the 8's gift to us. Last but not least, we have the 9, the Peacemaker, gone fishing, you know, peacemaker, peace bringer, chillax, you know, lovely air of peace and calm and tranquility about the 9s. And again, they can wonderfully mediate and inspire that in other people as well. Like, don't worry, be happy. There's really not much to get worked up about. It's all going to work out. And so the 9s can be great manifestations of sincerity, peacefulness, unity. You know, we're all in this together. Let's remember that. Let's work this out. Unity, detachment. Don't take it too seriously. Patience, flexibility, contentment. And the quote I have for the 9, be in perfect unity. Never become angry with one another. Love the creatures for the sake of God and not for themselves. You will never become angry or impatient if you love them for the sake of God. So this is the gift that the 9 gives us. So back to the questions that I asked you. What virtue did you come into this project feeling like you were strongest in? I'm really caring, I'm really loving, I'm very responsible, I'm very friendly, I'm courageous, I'm very truthful. You know, think about it. What was your answer? And that'll probably guide you a lot as to what type you are. And then what do you feel if everyone in the world would just do this one thing? It would make the world a better place. If they would take responsibility for themselves, if they would listen to other people, if they would have courage, if they would just, you know, be peaceful and see everyone as one, if they would just try to be the best version of themselves that they could be, if they would just be nice to other people. Again, these can guide you to what type you may be, like how you think other people should be to make the world a better place is a really good indication of your type, and also what virtue you feel you could really work on. You know, well, I could really use some patience. I could really use some acceptance of other people. Again, that kind of shows you maybe the shadow, like that you sort of innately already knew that you need to work on. So in the next session, I am going to be showing you how these types interact with each other. Again, we're all everything, and the Enneagram is that star shape, and those lines aren't just like woo-woo geometry. They actually show us in this really unique system of the Enneagram how the types interplay with each other, and how knowing your type, you can know your red flags and then know your direction of health and what you want to work on. All right, so I'll catch you in the next session.